What's going on, YouTube? This is Earl Vernacular. If you come across this video and you like the content, comment, engage, and subscribe to the channel. This is Earl Vernacular TV. Being blunt and sparking conversation. Sparking conversation. A new wave of thinking is rising within the underbelly of American political struggle as it relates to African American. You got the brother Tariq Nasheed and his organization, FBA, the Foundation of Black American. They're going on the lines of delineation. They are trying to delineate African American, the descendant of slaves, in their struggle to those of the other immigrants that have migrated to the United States as they push forward for reparation. FBA believes that African American and the descendant of slave, America owes them reparation, which I agree as well. So they are delineating themselves from other immigrants. So in their understanding, if reparation comes their way from the American government, it will be only towards those generation of people who have suffered slavery, Jim Crow, segregation in America. I respect the brother Tariq Nasheed very highly. Then you have the sister Yvette Cornell, very well spoken African American lady, and she has her organization that she is leading and pushing forward, ADOS, the American descendant of slaves. Yvette Cornell and the brother Toon, they're pushing for also similar discourse as Tariq, that they are delineating themselves from the other immigrants that have migrated to the United States in their struggle for reparation, in their struggle to maintain their culture, in their struggle to group economy. I understand that. They are trying to delineate themselves from other immigrants. But one thing we must understand, that black people as a whole, whether in the Caribbean, whether in Brazil, whether in Haiti, whether in Latin America, whether in Africa, whether in the United States, we share something special. We share something special. The difference is where the boat landed. African Americans, sometimes their sentiments towards African is negative. You see Charleston White, the character on the internet, he say African stinks. Why say such a negative thing like that towards African? You see the brother Lord Jamal, he is saying that Afrobeat is trying to replace R&B. Afrobeat can never replace R&B. Who will replace Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Prince, Usher, Gladys Knight, Luther Vandross, Teddy Pendergrass? Who will replace these people? Their history is already in the book. African Americans and their culture present in the world is very special. But when you have these political engines as ADOS, American Descendant of Slave, this new organization led by Yvette Cornell and Toon and the brother Tariq, their sentiments sometimes are always negative towards Africans. Because in this capitalist society, that competition takes place. Many African Americans in the camp of ADOS and FBA, they feel like these Africans or these immigrants are coming to this country, black immigrants are coming to this country and basically taking over their resources, taking over the opportunity that African Americans and the descendants of slaves could and should get because of all their struggle and all their historical ties to this land. It makes sense. This is a very complex situation. But black people, we are in unanimity with one another, indirectly or directly. So this delineation will only marginalize African American and the subset group who are thinking this way. It will only marginalize them from the global African community. You understand? The word is changing. You don't want to make African people your enemy. Yes, you want to fight for reparation within the United States. And with your case, as it moves forward, if African Americans and their descendants gets reparation, it should be solely towards that group of people that have suffered this injustice. I absolutely agree. But the approach that ADOS is taking, FBA is taking, to be anti-African, to be anti the continent, it's not going to work in the long run. As you see, revolution is going on in Africa. Africa is going to transform. It's going to change. As you see with the leadership in Ibrahim Traoré, when General Michael Langley spoke to Congress and saying that the general is using the Burkina Faso wealth for his own protection, hinting that regime change may be feasible. African Americans and their descendants, African Americans, they came to Touré, backing. Leave Ibrahim Touré alone. This man is changing Africa. So we are connected in many ways. Do not, because you are chasing a political goal that is very marginal, try to, push the continent and its people in America from the connection with you and them. As I went to school here as a young man, African Americans, are my best friends. As I went to school in this country. But it's hard when you live in the hood. You get clowned being an African. It's just straight up. The kids are harsh. Also, African comes to this country, some of them got a distorted mindset. They don't know what African American has suffered. The civil rights, all the struggle African Americans and their ancestors have gone through to make it feasible for us to enjoy the fruits of the labor in America comes from African American. We understand that. We appreciate that. That's why I studied the history of America, so I understand. Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, the war on drugs. I understand how African Americans has been affected. You see, so when I came to this country, I vote in solidarity with my brothers and sisters from this country. But when you have ADOS, American Descendant of Slave with Evel, and FBA with Tariq, their sentiment is sometimes ugly towards the continent. We have to unite. The people of Africa are going to unite whether you like it or not. Your marginal group or your marginal ideology that you're pushing, it's not going to last long. Because if you look to America history, all America black revolutionary leaders was Pan-African. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, you understand, Fred Hampton. They wanted black American in this country to get a fair shake. But at the same token, they wasn't beefing with the continent of Africa. They wasn't beefing with the people there of Africa. We are living in a capitalist society. This thing is wide open. Immigrants come to this country, we have comparative advantage over certain groups of African American in certain community who are now united, and that's the struggle. So that's where that difference is. When you see people come here and achieving things that was promised to you, it's disheartening. I understand that. But we live in capitalism. This stuff is wide open. You can't make African people, your brothers and sisters, your enemy. You can't delineate to the point now you become anti-African. People hate the Essence Festival because African jollof rice is a part of it. The negative stuff towards the continent is not going to work. This is a global world that we are in. African Americans should travel to Africa and see the continent. The world is opening. We are in a global community. The continent of Africa will back at black Americans one day. You will see. When our continent unite, They will back African American in their struggle over here, like they always have. During the 60s, during the civil rights movement, you had Malcolm X. You had people visiting. They were talking to each other because at that time, decolonization was also taking place on the continent of Africa. We are connected in so many ways. So delineate to get reparation, but don't delineate yourself to make African people in the continent as your opposition. You can't make African people as your opposition. Your blood is African. It runs deep in you. Disconnected over 300-400 years. It's understandable why you want to delineate, because your culture president in America have changed America image to the world. African American has liberated American image to the world with their singing, their dancing, playing basketball. Their culture president is phenomenal to the world, and it's history in the book. Nobody can do it like African Americans. Their culture president is special. You understand? But African people are not your enemies. So it's just capitalism. This stuff is wide open. Everybody's in this gumbo pot trying to figure it out. You understand? You let white people come to your Essence Fest, you don't complain. But now African and their music and their culture is within your festivity. You got a problem with that? Come on, these petty stuff is not going to work. You understand? Black people is going to unite one way or another, directly or indirectly, because we share the same struggle.